Good morning, everybody. I decided to come on about 12 minutes early to say good morning and to welcome everybody in. And we will start on things after some folks get in here. I'm just sitting here watching the birds. If we decide I have too much light, I can close the curtains and cut the sun out, but I'm enjoying the sun. So the sun is up. It's a beautiful day. I'm feeling better. I'm still a little sore in the rib cage from the episode night before last with the losing everything out of my stomach. But other than that, I am fine. There's a tufted titmouse out there wiping its beak on a branch. Must have just finished a bird seed. So we'll see if anybody shows up. We're going to do a tote tutorial today. I am going to, starting at 11, I'm going to show how to draw the pattern up for this. But because the print on my fabric is directional, I've had to make some changes to the pattern I drew up. And that will come into play with everybody that's going to sew along with me. If anybody shows up, I know I'm on, 10 minutes early, and I need to get rid of the autofocus before it drives me and everyone else completely bonkers. So let's go into camera control and we'll get rid of that. I'm going to come in just a tiny little bit. Good morning, Janet. How are you today? But before we start on the tote, I'm going to do some sewing. It's sew and tell. So I've got to I finished the jacket, but because I got so sick, I did not get anything else finished in my bin of projects. But a package came yesterday from Amazon, and I thought it was something I had ordered, and an early birthday present from Scott. He got me, it's a 26-piece beading needle set. It's got a little thimble ring there, but it's got all sorts of really long beading needles. Can you see them in there? I don't want to take them out of the tube because they are very fine, and I almost dropped some of them on the floor. And to be honest with you, I'm going to need a magnifier to thread these bad boys. But I got them in all different lengths, but I'll pull one out if I can pull one out. See how fine that is? And there's some in there that are even smaller to go through even tinier beads. But this was on my wish list. Scott adores the Amazon wish list because then he doesn't have to think. He just goes to the wish list and he picks something that he knows I'll like because I put it there. So he got me that, and then he got me this book, Carolina's Gardening Handbook. And it talks all about the plants that'll grow here in the Carolinas. When we moved in, we had some red hot pokers in the yard, but they didn't make it. I don't know if I killed them or what happened to them. They all died. I have some of this purple heart in the backyard. That stuff right there. I've got some of that in the back. If it's still alive, I haven't checked on it. But yeah, it's a beautiful book. The paper's not a very, it's not glossy. It's a plain paper. Got information on all the flowers and things that grow in the South. So early birthday gifts from my sweet husband. And they were very much a surprise because I thought he had ordered some things that he wanted. I didn't realize he was ordering my birthday presents. So I'm going to set these aside over on the table. And then I'll slip my jacket on. I'm not going to keep it on because I'll start sweating. But I cut this out, a long time ago. And yeah, the pattern needs some adjustments. The new job is going great. He loves it. But we just had some concerns with the fact that they were over into second shift, which he's going to be on second. And he needs to train people on second, but he is not getting paid for the overtime because he's working through a temp agency that won't pay for the overtime. So I told him he needed to talk to the boss there and see if he can do like a split shift until they hire him on straight so that he's getting paid for the time he's there, because that's ridiculous. I'm going to bring you all up so you can see this jacket. I did wash it, and it's like on the pocket where the lace ended a little bit in the washer. But you can see the shoulder is here and my shoulder is here. So I need to shorten the shoulder length to bring the sleeve up, because also look at the sleeves. Where are my hands? They're gone. But yeah, other than that, it fits good in the waist because I have a baby tummy, put it that way. And there's the back. But you can see where the shoulders drop down on me. They need to come up. So I need to shorten the shoulders. And I think if I do that and bring the sleeve up, it'll be fine, because then it'll fall at the base of my hand. So I've got a little adjustment here in the shoulders. But after I washed it, you could hardly see the fading spots. There's still the one that goes down the back, because that's where the fabric was folded. And all of the bias tape, I machine sewed it on. But then I thought that red is too stark. So I went digging in my lace, and I found this that I got thrifting. And all of this is hand sewn on, all of it up around my jacket and around the pockets and the cuffs. So, and it's fully lined. So there we go. I need to say hi to everybody. Everybody's rolling in here. So I'm going to put this on Gertie back here. Gertie's my dress form. And she needs a coat because she ain't got no clothes on. And Callie is here on the table. And I don't think I have anything else to share and say, ooh, look at this hair. You didn't come for the hair, so that's all right. Oh, Beth, you hurt your shoulder? Thank you, Ray. It's March 8th is my birthday. It's coming up. Yeah, I can fix it. I'm not gonna try to fix it on that jacket. That jacket will just be one, I wear if it's chilly in the house and that kind of stuff. But yeah. So welcome to everybody that's here. I said hi to Ray. There's Linda and Janet and Beth. You were watching the cat TV? Yep. They enjoy the window. I cleaned the glass so they really enjoy it. And it's making my hair really white. So I might have to close those. Callie might have to go back to bed. She woke up when she heard me talking. Hi, Mrs. Gigi. Hi, Ruth. Did I get everybody? I was watching Dee Dee and Janet over there. That another Janet. They were doing the journaling by fives. It's hilarious. They're breaking all the rules, but that's okay. They're having fun. So, yeah, I'm happy to be settled and have a space that actually works here in the front room. And Scott's big table came in, and we're going to set we've got another computer and 2 monitors that he had at the cottage that he's going to set up and have in the other room. She's trying to decide if she's fixing to make her move. Where you headed, honey? You want to come say everybody? You're going to leave. Okay. So I think I'm going to block some of the sun a little bit so we're not so washed out. I enjoy watching the birds. Hopefully she's not going to get mad if I close the window some. So I got my old dressmaker all threaded up and ready to go. So let's bring you down to the table. I don't know what I've done with this cord here. Let's put that back there. I'll bring you back down to the table. And you'll need a piece of paper. Whoops. What is wrong with you? Why aren't you behaving? Oh, that's too far. Excuse me while I muck about with the camera. Bring it on down a little bit. Ooh, that's a big bit of my hand. Pay no attention to the squiggles on here. We're going to go over this step by step. So this is what we're going to make to begin with. We might, if we still want to do some more, we might do some project bags. And I did find some 14-inch zippers in my stash. Should have brought something to drink. I might have to run get something. But you're going to need an outside fabric, an inside fabric, and something for the handles. If you don't have belting, you can just use some of your fabric and cut a 2-inch strip and fold it in half, and then open it up and fold your sides in again. And it'll give you a narrow little strap. I can show how to do that if you want me to. I hadn't planned to, but I can. And our bag today is going to be slightly different than this because I have directional fabric that I want to use. That you can't do it on the fold bottom. So we're going to have a seam in the bottom. So I had to do a little bit of quick adjustments to this pattern. Okay, well, while Janet is posting that, I'm going to go get a ginger ale. It's a diet ginger ale, and to keep me from going hoarse on you guys. But you can use any kind of paper that you have. Make it something lightweight, a piece of parchment paper if you have parchment paper. I have this paper I got at the thrift store. I think it's just a packing paper of some sort. That will work to draw a pattern on too. You just want something kind of lightweight. You don't want anything really heavy. I'll be right back. Let me get a ginger ale real quick. You weren't on the counter, were you? You weren't on the counter, were you? What were you doing on the counter? I saw you. Take a little sip of that. All right. Pattern first, okay? I'm going to set this aside. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you need to draw a rectangle that is 10 inches wide by 10 3/4 inches long. I've already done that, but I'm going to go over all my marks with marker so you guys can see it really well. I hope. All right. So that's 10 3/4 inches by 10 inches. It's going to be your starting rectangle. I feel like we need a little bit more light back in. Not much, just a little bit. All right. 10 3/4. Every inch is divided into quarters. So it's 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch. So 10, and then there's a quarter, a half, 3/4, and then 11. So each section is divided into 1/4. So it's 3 1/4 sections. Okay, good. All right. So once you get that done, There is a lot of people that have left comments on previous tote videos that I have done, that I was doing it wrong, that it's so much easier to do it this way. So I'm going to tell you about the other way, but then we're going to do it the way I like to do totes, because that's the way I like to do totes. You could take this rectangle right here, right now, and that could be your pattern. That's it. That could be it. All right. You would all the sides. Then you would take your bag and you would sew down the side seam. You would sew here. Then you would take those two seams and you'd bring them together. Like, here's your side seam, and you'd bring your bottom seam up to it, and you'd have a point out here, right? Well, then you would come in a ways and sew across, and then you'd cut the fabric away. A lot of people like to do it that way. I feel like I get a much tidier finish by just cutting that square away to begin with. Okay? Exactly, Mary. I just wanted to put that out there because there will be somebody that comes along and says, you know, you could do it this way. Yes, I know I could do it that way. This is the way I like to do it. This is the way I'm going to show. So anyway, I just had to say it, Mary, because there's always somebody that tells me I'm doing it wrong. I'm not doing it wrong. I'm just doing it my way. All right. So now we need to mark that we're going to cut 2 1/4 out of each corner. Okay. So you measure in from your side 2 1/4. I would do it here and here and then draw a line. So we'll draw a line. I've already got my lines on here, so I'm not making any marks because I've already done it. And I do that on both corners. All right. And then we do the same, come in from this way or from here up to here. I do that in a couple spots, and then I draw a line across. And I did draw the line all the way across to begin with, but that was for me doing a quick put together. All right. What I'm marking is our actual pattern now. That's why I said ignore the pencil. So this is 2 1/4 inch square on each corner, and we're going to cut that away. So now our pattern should look like this, and these would be gone. All right. And the distance in here between the two squares should be about 5 1/2 inch in between here. This is the bottom of the bag down here. And you'll have a strip that's 5 1/2 by 2 1/2 on all of the sections of fabric. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out. We will be using a 1/4 inch seam throughout. So when you're on your sewing machine, the 1/4 inch means the distance from the needle to the edge of the foot of the sewing machine foot. So you would line your fabric up right along the foot. I'm not going to be able to get any close-ups of the actual sewing machine action because it's behind me and I don't have two cameras that I can split in between, but I will show, you know, what I'm going to do. So now we're going to cut our, and these are, I will have my fabric shears over here when we're dealing with fabric. I might keep this to draw notes on. We can't possibly throw away a little piece of paper, right? So yesterday, while I'm cutting this out, I'm going to tell you what I did yesterday. I got a feeling really good. So I did all of the laundry. I changed the sheets on the bed. I made dinner, and I did a whole stack of painty papers. Yeah, I was feeling really good yesterday afternoon. Yesterday morning, no, not so much. Trying to think of what else I did yesterday. The day before, I don't remember anything. I just slept a lot. Had a wicked headache yesterday, but then I got to thinking it's because I hadn't been drinking any coffee. There was no way I was going to put coffee on my glass tummy. All right. So there you go. That's your pattern. And out of this is your tote. I'm going to put 2, 25, 20, 21 tote. Okay. We're going to ignore the cut on the fold because we're not going to do that. Okay. Cut 2 of fabric. So you'll have 2 pieces of fabric. You'll have 2 pieces of lining. And if you're using a quilter's weight or something lighter, you will want to add some kind of interfacing. If you're using something more like a canvas weight or a denim, that's what I used on this. It holds pretty good. And after you put a little bag stuffing stuff, whatever that stuff is called, you know, the crinkle paper, you could put some of that in the bottom and then put your gift in, or use tissue paper. It'll make them sturdy. See, this one it's made with canvas. If this was I think that's canvas too. This is 2 layers of canvas. What I'm going to use today is going to be canvas on the outside and a quilter's cotton on the inside. But and I'm not going to worry about the interfacing because I am using canvas, but it might not stand up as well as this one does on its own. It just gives it body. And I really, really love for bags, the shirt tearing interfacing. I mean, I have some, I could use it. I just wanted to make this as simple for y'all as I could. So that would be my suggestion. If you're using a lighter weight fabric, apply some fusible interfacing, something like I said, like a shirt tailor. You don't want to go to that really thick decor interfacing. That's too thick. Much. Let me show you the interfacing. I would use, I think I can grab it real quick. And you're only going to put the interfacing on the outer fabric, not on the lining. All right. And the only other thing I want you to mark on here before I move on to that is when you measure from the top down to where we did the cutaway, that should be 8.5 inches. That should be 8.5 inches. And this should be 5.5 from this edge to that edge. And then you're going to measure about, you can do 2.5 if you want to. I did 2 5/8. Just come in from the side and make a little mark, and then come over 1 inch and make another little mark, and do that on both sides. That tells you where your handles go. That's where you'll attach the handles. And I don't generally mark on the fabric with something like this. I'll just hold the pattern up to the pieces and put pins there, so I know that that's where I want that to be. All right, let me show you that interfacing really quick. I don't even know if this one's a fusible, but it's firm, not stiff. stiff. It's got some bend to it. This is what I use on my totes all the time. And I think it's called shirt tailoring at Joann's. There's another one. See, I don't think this one's even usable. If you wanted to make it a real kind of cushy, you could actually use the thin quilter's cotton batting. You could put batting in this. It's just going to give a more thickness on your sewing machine that you might need to use a walking foot, and that moves into a whole new area. Okay. All right. Now, the reason that we're doing it this way instead of putting this on the fold and not having a seam here is because of my fabric. Let me show you. All right. Hopefully it's not going to pick up anything. Okay, so here's the fold of my fabric. If I put the pattern piece on the fold of the fabric, which I'm not, what happens to the direction of my feathers, you guys? They're going that way, right? I want the feathers to be like this. That's why we're doing the seam on the bottom. If you have a directional fabric, always point the top of your images to the top of your fabric. That falls into place. You've got to be careful of it. Like if you cut your front of your slacks and to save fabric, you flip the back of your slacks pattern in the other direction. You walk away, people are going to go, what on earth? All of hers are upside down. You know, all right, Peg, bye, hon. Thanks for stopping in. So you always want to pay attention to that direction of your image on your fabric. Always, always look and check that. You also want to pay attention of the grain line. You want this piece, and I even marked a line that's halfway across the 10, run straight with the grain of the fabric. The grain of the lengthways of the fabric. If you are doing something like a bias cut dress, your pattern will shift like this so that you're cutting on the bias so that you get that nice drape. You do not want to cut slacks on the bias ever. If you do, your pants will wrap around your leg and you'll be constantly trying to straighten them because you want the grain to run straight up and down your pants. The same with bags. You don't want your bag, when you're putting stuff into it, to have any twist in it. So we're going to want our pattern to run up and down. And we want the grain to also run in the straight path of this. So I've got this folded double, and I'm going to just flip this over because I cut way over here by this fold I have. I want to cut out here toward the selvage edge so that I'm not wasting fabric. I'm cheap that way. I want to use as much of this fabric as I can. You do not want to include in a piece of clothing or in a quilt. If you have some selvage in your blocks, it'll have a tendency to pull. At least that's what I found. I know somebody will probably tell me no. Janet says she's ordered some interfacing. All right. So, but I'm going to use the edge of that selvage to tell me if I've got this straight. I'm going to come right up to the edge of the selvage, and I'm just going to put my bag pattern right near those dots, but they're going to be cut away. And I want to come down as far as I can because I'm cheap. And yeah, I want to use as much of this beautiful fabric I got on clearance as I can. So now we're going to pin this in place. This will be on clearance as I can. So now we're going to pin this in place. This will be our two outer pieces. Uh-oh. And then we've got to cut our lining. And I've just got a piece of quilting fabric from my stash from under the bed. Scott was laughing. Deep into the stash she goes. Because it's under our bed. I have to pull the totes out. And if you were making several of these, you could layer your outer fabric and your lining and cut them all at once. I just wanted to make sure I'm being as frugal as possible with this. All right, so we're going to cut this out. Get some fabric scissors. And if you don't want to use the belting, you could also use grosgrain ribbon, works for the handles on these little totes. You can also use satin ribbon, but like I was saying in another live, if you use satin, I would use it with lighter weight fabrics. Teresa, I got this fabric at Hobby Lobby for like $4 a yard. So I got a yard of this. The fabric I'm going to use for the project bag, I got the same day and used my coupon because it wasn't on sale. All right, so there is that. Let's finish cutting this out. But I saw it and I was like, oh, that would make such cute totes. See, I'm thinking about gift giving opportunities throughout the year. This would be really a pretty way to give a gift to a neighbor that's been ill, or, you know, a new family moves in next door. Put some cookies and stuff, maybe some hot cocoa mix in it, and drop it on their door handle. Because it's got the handles, these make beautiful gifts. And Janet, I think you mentioned the fact that they'd be cute at Easter. So I'm going to keep that and put that in my slow stitch bag. All right, so now I've got my other fabric here. I didn't do too good at getting this lined up. All right, I ironed this, but it doesn't look like it. All right, now with this one, the selvage is running this way. Here's the edge. I mean, the grain's running this way. So I'm going to go ahead and lay this down on top of here. And again, I don't want to include that selvage if I can help it. Trying to make sure I'm straight. And I'm just going to pin it again. I'm not going to take it off. I'm just going to pin it again. Mary, if I lived closer, I'd come get your sewing machine started up on you. All right, I'm going to cut this away here. Scott and I were talking about the man that used to repair my machine for me and do the service on it. He closed up shop, so I don't know where I'm going to take my dressmaker to get it serviced anymore. I'm tempted to learn how to do it myself and just get Scott to help me with it. I hope I got that pretty straight. All right. And Mary, you had asked that I show how to do the project bags with the French seams. So we'll do that. And that way you don't need a lining. We'll French seam it so there's no closed seam. I think these scissors need to go through the sharpener. I hope nobody's used them on. Yeah, Tanya sells these pretty little scissor minders. Aren't they pretty? She makes these beads too. If anybody's interested, you might want to hit her up and say, I'd like to buy a scissor minder, scissor charm to mark my fabric scissors. They're really pretty. Tanya makes some beautiful beads. I really love that. All right, so now we've got, oh, I'm so sorry, Mary, you're having technical issues. All right, so get the pins out of here. All right, now, this is where it just goes wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, we're done, okay? I'm going to go ahead and I'll take these two pieces. And while I've got it in flat form, I'm just going to put some pins in on either side of where I want my handles. So there's on one side. I marked an inch because that's how wide my belting is. And I'm just using pins to mark where they go. And I just keep stabbing myself. And it's going to have two handles. So you're going to mark it on both pieces. If you want to mark it with a pen or a marking device, you can. Anything I mark fabric with leaves. House internet doesn't work. All right. That'd be crazy here. So that's one side. There's one side. And there's one side. I just want to mark those while it's flat because the next step, is we're going to sew some sides and stuff. And it's so much easier if these are marked now. So mark where your handles are going to go. And I did it on the outside because that's where we're going to apply the handles. But first things first, let's go ahead. We're going to put the outer sides together. All right. And we are going to sew a 1/4 inch seams down the side across the 5.5 inch section here at the bottom. Ignore the corners. These corners that are cut away, we're not doing anything with those right now. We're just going to do our 1/4 inch seams on the sides of the outer part, the bag, and the lining. So right sides together. I also have my iron is plugged in. I'm not having any problems here. I'm not seeing anything, and it's still plugging away. So I'm going to keep going so that it's recorded. All right, so I'm going to do 1/4 inch seams on both sides and across the bottom, and I'll come right back. I'll leave this bag here for y'all to look at because I got to go to the other side of the room and I can't move the camera. So you'll just have to listen to me sewing. floor. But we'll be fine. I got 2 more seams and I'll be right back with you guys. Nice, Callie. I got a little piece of fabric I sew off on so I don't ever have long strings. Thread. Plus it keeps your I'm done. Oh, I've got that pin on the floor. Let's see if I can spot it real quick. Of course not. There it is. All right, so here we go. I forgot to take the heart with me, so I got all these pins stuck in my shirt. Let me get these out of here so I don't stab myself. There we go. All right, so I've sewn all along here. I think you can see it, maybe. And down the sides. And on this one, I did the same thing. All right, so now the next thing you're going to do is, this is the part, you want to fold one seam, pick a direction, fold one seam that way, and fold this one the opposite, so you're not having, so you don't have this. You don't want a great big pile of fabric there. So if you make one seam go one way and one the other, they kind of lock together. And I'm just going to put some pins in here to hold the seam where I want it. And I'm matching up the edges of the fabric from the side and the bottom. I'll go slower on the next one so you can see what I've done. All right, so we have that. So here's the square that we had cut out, right? Open it, open the hole like this. So you open this up. Look over here how you've got your seam pressed. So press it this way. If you wanted to, you could take and iron this, but I just usually finger press. Okay, when you sew the first time, you're going to sew, like, here's your top of your bag is here, up here. This is the top of the bag. You're going to sew a side and a side, ignore the squares, and sew along the bottom right here. All right, so both sides and along the bottom is where we sewed. Now we're closing the bottom of the bag. Does that make sense? All right, so again, there's your square. Open it up. Make sure that the seam is going the same direction as you did it on the opposite side, and then put your side seam opposite direction and bring them together, and the seam matches right there. And because you're doing one in one direction and one in the other, they lock together tightly. And then I just put some pins in the actual seams, in the remaining, I don't know what to call it, in the little flaps from the seams. And then I just match up the edges. And I use 4 pins on these. You probably don't need to use that many, but I just like to make sure it's laying flat. Okay. All right, so let's do that on this one. Open it up. So your square is open, right? Yes. So like the side seam, I'm going to go to my right, and the bottom seam will go to the left. And then when I bring them together, I don't have 4 or 5 layers or six layers of fabric. I don't have the seam, the side, and the bottom all stacked up for everything. So the seam from the side will go to the right. The seam from the bottom will go to the left. And I put the pins in to hold them down so that as it's going under the presser foot, they don't roll on me. That's what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want them to roll and cause a huge pile of fabric there. It's just to hold it smooth. I do take the pins out before I sew because going over pins is not good for your machine, and it will dull your needle, and it can cause personal injury. So always remove your pins. I know I've seen a lot of people, and my sister, she'll just sew right over the pins. I don't do that. I've seen too many people get hurt. So again, now, because we're on the opposite side of the bag, you've got to do it the opposite way because you flip the bag around, right? So now on the opposite side of the bag, that seam will go to the right and the side seam will go to the left. You just want to make sure that you're not making this seam here twist. So if I did like I did on the other side, on this side, see what that seam does? Did you see how it rolls? So instead of laying flat, it'll have like that roll in it, which is not good. Then your bag won't lay flat. You'll see that when you start putting a bag together. So let's match these up and get the pins in there. And then we're going to do a 1/4 inch seam along the edge. So when you pull these two pieces away from the machine this time, you will have, that doesn't look like it's sewing right at all, but we're going to keep going. We're going to have a box that'll look just like that tote bag that I made. Once we sew this square up, this is what you'll have. All right. I might need to do some adjustments on my machine. All right, so I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch from the edge that I've just pinned down. And I do go forward and back at the beginning of each seam to lock it into place. I wish I had a way to have 2 cameras going so I could just flip to this camera. Maybe one day. Ouch. You're all right, Callie. All right. Lining. And there's your tote bag. We're going to take and we're going to turn the tote right side out. So do y'all see where I sewed across here? And that creates your boxed bottom. We're going to turn it right out. Be careful you don't poke yourself with the pins I put in place for the belting. Go ahead and press your corners out. You want to get these pressed out pretty good because this is your opportunity to do it. Because once we put the lining in, you won't be able to reach them quite as well. That one's come out on me. All right. So there we go. There's the outer part of the bag. Okay. Now we got to decide how long we want our straps. And I can't remember how long I made these. I bet this was 12 inches. So I'm going to do 12-inch strap, and I need 2 of them. Still can't believe I got this for as cheap as I did at the thrift store. All right, so there's 2 straps. Okay. We're just going to pin these in place, okay? I'm not going to sew these or anything right now. I'm just going to pin them on here. So I'm just going to match the edge of the strap with the edge of the bag and just put the pins through this. Then you want to make sure that your band forms a handle. Looking at my other bag. Yeah. So you want it to come up, come around, so that the same side of the belting is touching the fabric. You don't want to do this or you have a twisted handle. You want to make sure it's kind of flipped and it makes a U. And then you're just going to pin that in place. This handle might be a little short. The handle's length is a personal preference, really. Unless you're following somebody's pattern that you bought, then I would suggest, following what they say. So I'm just going to put this on here, matching up the edges. All right. Okay, so now you've got your little bag and you've got your handle attached, right? The bag is right side out. The lining is still wrong side out. What we're going to do is we're going to shove the bag into the lining, okay? Put the bag into the lining, match your side seams up. Same way we did the bottom. With one seam going one way and one the other, like that. Put your pins in there. I always match the sides up first. It just makes everything so much easier. Okay. Now keep in mind, when we sew these 2 layers together, we have to leave about 4-inch opening. And we'll top stitch around the top of this bag when we're done, and that will close the opening up. But if you don't leave an opening, guess what? You can't turn your bag right side out. Now, there are other ways. We could have left an opening on the lining side if we wanted to. But with this kind of bag being small like this, I just leave an opening at the top. So I'm just going to put some pins in the top up here around. I might even take one of the pins out of the belting and then put it back in through all of the layers. Put one in between the belting. And I put mine in sideways like this because it's easier to remove them as you're sewing. All right, so we got one side all pinned together. All right. All right. I think I'm going to leave my opening on this side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave my pins there, but to tell me to stop, I'm going to pick 2 of the same color. And I'll put, and the only reason I do this is to remind myself to stop. And I put 2 pins real close together like that. That tells me where to stop. And I'll go ahead and start over here, just in front of this band right here. And then I'll stop and I'll pull these pins out and we'll turn it right side out. But then your bag should be pinned around. And now you're going to do the 1/4-inch seam around the top. Oh, Ruth, that sounds like fun. I'd play along with that, Mary. I definitely would. That would be so much fun. All right, let me sew this up. I'm going to have to remove the arm on my machine real quick here. All right, and I want to stop right there. So I'm going to start right here. And when I go over the straps, on each strap, I will go forward and then I'll go in reverse a couple times to make sure that strap stays in there. I didn't go over my little piece of fabric. All right. So now I've gone all the way around except right here. We're going to pull these pins out. What I will do after I get it turned right side out, and they call this birthing a bag. Okay, all right. So here's our opening. So we're going to birth the bag, as they say. You just start pulling the bag out. And you just keep going till the handles and the lining and everything is out. So now you got this. All right. Then you just shove your lining back down into the bag. And take your handles and shake it. And it's down in the bag. All right. I'm going to take it to my iron and I'm going to press this real well. Don't want to spend a lot of time if you're using belting. You said for me to leave the pick 10 and then we would sew a bag later. All right, so I'm going to take and press it. Don't spend a lot of time on the nylon or it'll melt. You don't want that on your iron. So I try to avoid it and just iron just on the fabric. And here, this is where we had our opening. I'm going to carefully turn this in the 1/4 inch and just press it. And then I can just top stitch close to the edge all the way around and it will finish the edge and it will close this hole. If you don't want to do a top stitch, you would have to hand stitch this closed. Okay? All right. Hopefully my iron is still hot here. I think I'll put this over the end of the ironing board. When you top stitch, it just gives a nice finished edge. Now, if you wanted to make little baskets like this, you would just leave the handles off and make a more square box. We might want to, if y'all want to do that, we could do that another day because I want to do the project bag next. Bag, nothing but rectangles with seams in them. That's all a bag is. All right, I've pressed it. I am going to put a couple pins in this to make sure it doesn't shift on me. And that's just where the opening was. So now I'll just go top stitch this close to the edge, not at the 1/4 inch. You want to be close to the edge so that you're going through all of the layers of fabric. If you went a 1/4 inch in, you would be right on the edge of the previous seam and you would end up sometimes with tails sneaking their way out. You can starch if you want to, but if you're using a canvas like this, it holds pretty good. If you're using just 2 pieces of quilter's cotton, I would recommend that shirt tailor interfacing stuff. That's too heavy for me. I don't like that stuff. A round bag with a drawstring. Let me work on that, Teresa. I'll have to think on that. I think we could come up with a pattern for that using a cake pan. How big a bag do you want, Teresa? That's the thing. How big a bag? Do you want a bag to use more like a purse, or do you want just a small drawstring bag? Let me go stitch this and then we'll call this one done. Just like that. We're done. These bags are so cute and they work up so quickly. And they're a really good project for somebody just getting into sewing because it's straight seams. There's no curves. If you wanted to do a decorative stitch, you can. I've never learned how to use the little mechanisms in this machine. I've never been able to get them to work. I need to learn how to do it and get it to work. Might have to pick Tanya's brain. Come on. It's not liking the belting sections. Come on. It's not wanting to come over that pile at the seams either. Come on. Almost there. See, something's wrong with this machine. It's not doing right. Tension's messed up. I need to play with the machine a little bit here. It's like, why are you messing up now? I'll fix that later. But anyway, there's the little bag. They just if you feel the need to put something in the bottom, Beth, you can, but they really do stand on their own. I mean, it's not necessary to really have anything in there. All right. So there's the one I made before, and this is the one we made today. And they're just little guys, but they're perfect for gift giving. Or a project bag. You know, if you got a small handwork you want to tote somewhere with you, you could put it in there. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tote bag. Let me goof around with my sewing machine real quick, and I'm going to see if I can figure out what's going on with it. I need a little scrap of because we're going to work with nothing but canvas. Let me get a piece of this. It won't take me but a minute, I hope. It's not acting right. Probably ought to use a colored fabric where I can see. Best practices. When it starts messing up, just rethread. Let's try rethreading first. All right, let's go there, through there, through the tensioner, through the take-up, through that guide, through that guide, through the needle. All right, That's got the top threaded. Let's pull the bobbin casing out. Goes that way. Back in there. All right. All right. Everything's rethreaded. Oopsie doodles. Put the arm back on. Please stand by. All right. Let's put that all the way. Sit still. Why are you messing up? A little better. Sorry, guys. If I'm just trying to get it so when I sew something, it'll stay together. It would pick today to mess up. All right. I'm going to go with it. We'll see what happens. All right. I need to remember how big those project bags were. Hang on just a sec. Let's grab one. No, that's not it. All right, I'm going to use some mushroom fabric for this. And Mary had asked if I could show how to do French seams on here. So what we're going to have to do is, oh! Thank you, Janet. Thank you for being here. All right, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, we're going to do a project bag per Mary's request. And I'm going to use the mushroom fabric I got the other day. And for this, we don't really need a pattern. We just need to cut a couple rectangles. So I've got that. And then I've got a pink zipper. There's a light blue zipper, a white zipper, a yellow, or a dark blue. So I was thinking I'd go with just the white zipper, but one of these colors might be more fun. This is a separating zipper. I'd rather save that for a little girl's coat. So what do y'all think? Yellow, light blue, dark blue, or white zipper for this? Hi, Barb. Anybody that's come in that I've missed, sorry. Hi, Joycey. Hi, Janet. Janet Baum, I didn't see you sneak in. Hi, Sherry. Good morning, everybody that I missed. I'm not sure how well this is going to hold together. I need to spend about an hour with this sewing machine, I think. It's having a temper tantrum from sewing that denim, I think. I even changed a fresh needle. It's got a fresh needle, fresh thread. It's been threaded twice, and I'm still having tension problems, but it's laying, the thread is laying flat on the bottom of the fabric. So the upper tension isn't pulling it tight, is my understanding. I'll have to look it up in my book. I might have it off. Yeah, that's a tension issue. Let me see real quick if I can locate something. Probably not, because I want to. Iron instructions. I can't get to it right now. It's under there. Yeah, you have to do a little bit of changing on the tension and then sew a little bit. And that's what I was doing over there. And it looks a little better than what I had. Oh dear, Val doesn't have a book for her machine. I know there's some sites that blue, which blue? Dark blue or light blue? And I say yellow, either one. I think the light blue would be better because it matches the mushrooms. All right. Yeah, Janet's got a good idea. Mary said either, the light blue. Yeah, I think the light blue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat. I'm going to use this purchased project bag as a pattern. And I'm just going to cut a little beyond it for a seam allowance. And that's what we're going to do. This fabric, I didn't buy near as much as I did of the other. Press it so it's nice and evened out right here. If you had a serger, you could probably just serge the edges, but I told Mary I'd show her how to do French seams, so that's what I'm going to do. That's what we're going to do. And I'm folding it wrong sides together. It should be right sides together. Let me flip this. When you fold your fabric to cut it out, you should always do right sides together. trying to get the grain to fall. All right. There we go. I just love mushrooms. I just love to look at them. All right, and they actually, this is just on the fold. All right, let me rethink this. I think, again, I'm going to run into a problem because I've got directional fabric. See, if I do this on a fold, even if I fold the fabric this way, the mushrooms will go right side up on one side and wrong side up on the other. So I am going to, I need a sip of ginger ale. I'm going to cut 2 and have a bottom seam. Excuse me. All right. So what I'm going to do, I got to make sure it wasn't cut straight. So yeah. And I'm going to use pattern weights. And I'm going to try to get this straight on grain as good as I can get it. And I got my pattern weights that I made. If anybody wants to learn how to make pattern weights, they're super easy. They're a lot of fun to make too. And I've seen people make them so they look like chickens. So, and they're full of rice. So I've probably got more than I need, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. So I've got about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm eyeballing. I'm pretty good at eyeballing things. And you want a little bit of a seam at the top because you got to sew your zipper in. So I'm just going to do my best to cut straight across here. All right. I'll measure it and tell you guys the measurements. Of the piece I cut out. So it's looking like 10 by 14. Cut some 10 by 14 rectangles. All right. 10 by 14 rectangles. So here we go. The first thing we need to do is put the zipper in. You could do the 20-inch. It would be 5-inch bigger than this. We're going to put this in first. Let me All right, the zipper will be exposed. So we're going to see the teeth. What we need to do is we need to take one side at a time and lay it on your zipper. This has been stored a long time. Let's make sure it works before we sew it in. Yeah. I'm going to do that a couple times to make sure the teeth, because I don't know how old it is. It was something I got thrifting. So you've got a stop and a start, and it looks like I should have gone a little bit longer, but I'm not going to worry about it because I can just pull the zipper back and we can sew across there. So I'm more worried about this end because that's metal. So I'm going to come a little bit past this so that I can get a 1/4 inch seam on my sides in a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Let me think. I don't know if I can do French seams. Let me think. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that on here. I'm thinking. Because with French seams, you have to sew, when you sew them together, what you do, wrong sides together, so you would stitch it, then you would trim away some, and you would flip the two sides, pretend this is sewed together. So pretend this is sewn. We're going to pretend this is stitches. I don't think I can do that with the zipper. And then you would flip it and sew it again, right sides together. But see, you can't do the flipping with the zipper attached. That's the thing. But you can zigzag, Mary. You could zigzag your edges. This is Becky flying by the seat of her pants, trying to figure this out. I thought my brain had it all figured out, but apparently it didn't. So we're not going to do French seams. Do you want me to show a lining? We could put something on the inside. But anyway, all right. When I put this on here, it needs to be right sides together. And then this will flip back and be along the teeth of the zipper. So I'm going to come back a little ways and I'm going to pin this in place. I'm going to attach my zipper foot. I'll show you what a zipper foot looks like, because you want to get as close to the teeth without going through. You do not want to go through the teeth of your zipper because it will ruin the zipper. So you want to sew just as close as you can get without going through the teeth. We're going to sew this side on. I also have a serger. I could serge the edges real quick. I just like linings. All right. And Mary said, don't worry about it if I can't figure it out. So thank you, Mary. All right, I'm going to sew this on. Let me show you the zipper foot. Zipper, zipper, zipper. I've got like a couple different versions, I think. That one doesn't have all of its attachments on it. This is the one I use for my zipper foot. And it's got a place for the needle to go right in. And that looks like a tight place, but the needle does okay. So when you've got your zipper, you see how close you can get, because the edge of this runs right along the teeth, and then the needle goes right in there. So it gets really close. And that's what you want. Well, thank you, Val. All right. So I'm going to use this zipper foot, and then I'll show you how it stitches. Hopefully it's going to behave itself, because right now my tension's messed up. If it doesn't, I'm going to have a bag that might fall apart, but it'll be my bag. Which side of the zipper? And you can sew on either side by moving your needle position. And I'm just going to check and make sure I'm not going to hit the presser foot. That's always my worry. I don't want to hit the presser foot. And I'm going to open the zipper a little ways and sew a little ways so that the zipper pull is not in my way. So I'll get this started and then I'll stop and I'll close the zipper back up once I get past the end. Ooh. Oh, don't be giving me problems. What is the problem? Okay. Stop with the needle in the thread, in the fabric. Let's see if I can close this zipper back up. There we go. Boy, it really boogered up there at the beginning. Okay. It's not perfect and it's still not the right tension. This is probably what Val's got going on too. I don't know if y'all can see it, but my box is messing up. But anyway, we're going to keep going. This is what we got. I might try to press this. I got to stay away from those teeth though. See, it started pulling away on it, so it's not perfect. It's driving me crazy. It started off good and then it went kind of crooked. So even somebody that's been sewing this many years still has issues. Let me just real careful press this. You just don't want to melt. This is a plastic zipper. Perfect for the project. Not so good for the iron. All right. I'm going to go back to the machine now, and I'm just going to top stitch all along this because you don't want the fabric to get worked up into the zipper. Does that make sense? So I'm going to go ahead and do my top stitching on that so it's out of my way, and then we're going to line this fabric up with the same distance I have it on this side and get it put on the other side of the zipper. And then I'll press it and top stitch it. Hi, Roy. And then we'll do our side seams and the bottom. So let me do this real quick. there. Oh. Where's that? Oh. That might be the problem right there. Let's put that over there. It's been a while since I put a zipper in, you guys. Bear with me. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Oh, let's see here. Aha, what are you doing? You're driving me crazy. And you are not in your guide. What is? Please stand by. Ooh, that's all crooked. That'll never do, donkey. It's only because I'm on here with you guys that this thing is messing up. What is wrong with this thing? We're going to go with it. Well, bloomin' heck, that's horrible. You guys, my machine is just messing up. Really, really bad. That's horrible. See the bot? Look at that. That's horrible. Let me get a scrap paper, a piece of fabric, just real quick. Let me see if that's what the zipper looked like, or if that's what I'm doing now. Ah, I could say it's what I'm doing now. Oh Lord, that is horrible. I'm trying to decide what's worse. Start this back at 0. I feel bad that I'm having to make you guys wait because the machine's messing up. got it. Much better. Whew. Okay. I'm going to pretend that's absolutely beautiful under there. I've already rethreaded twice. I did that. The tension's messed up. It's much better now. This back looks horrible. I rethreaded. And I've been, it's only because I'm on here with you guys. As they say, pull the frog out and ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. I even practiced with that thing to make sure everything was fine. It just hates me. You can see the bobbin thread just lifts right out. Look at that. Just pull the bobbin thread out. And then I should be able to get this and just pull it out. Like that. Hope my little tote bag holds together. All right. There we go. That gets all that ugly thread out of there. There we go. That was easy enough to remove. Now, was it my top stitching that looked better than the thing? No, I got to do the top stitching again. Hang on. Please hold. I think I'm going to elongate the stitch for the top stitching too. Let's see. Come on. Stop hating me. Okay. You better be nice on the underside or out. You hear me? Machine. La machine is driving me bonkers. Okay. Not great, but better. We're going to go with it. It's not a boogered mess. It's still great. It's better than it was. Oh, you and your basting first. I hate basting. I don't think that's going to help my problem, though, Mary. Mary likes to hand baste. I hand basted so much on that jacket. I'm over hand basting right now. I showed the jacket at the beginning of this mess. Let's see. Oh. I'll dig my book out and see if I can figure out why it's behaving so poorly. I'll pull the bobbin out and see if it's messed up in there. It's not in the tensioner. Right. Let's try this again. Go up in that slot, back around. Come on, old girl. You got it in you. You can do this. So why aren't you going through that guide right there? Okay. Go down and get the bobbin thread. Okay. Right. So I put the bobbin, took it out, reset it, put it back in there. This needs to be on the other side of that. This is screwy. I'm going to give it another go. Let's see. Tried to sew this other side on. It's looking better. Oh, it better be nice to me. I tell her she's too old to be put up for adoption, but if she doesn't knock it off. I've only had her since 1982. Got her when she was new. Crying out loud. All right. That's looking better. At least the stitches are laying flat, not jumping all over the place. So, Roy, I'll give it to you. Maybe the bobbin needed to be rewound. And if your zipper is a little long, you guys, you can cut zippers, you know. Wonder clips. I have wonder clips. If you don't want to use pins, wonder clips are amazing. These are wonder clips. And they are awesome. You have to jab yourself a million times. I love them when I'm doing quilts. Oh, I have to talk sweet to her to get her to behave. All right, I'm going to press this again, being careful not to get on the zipper teeth because we don't want to melt them. I got pretty close to the teeth that time. Pull this tight here. Yeah, she's my old girl. My newer white quilter star, the reverse is broken. And the part to fix it is no longer made. So I'm kind of stuck. All right, I'm doing the top stitching now. So she better, won't come unthreaded. Oh. Might as well just go ahead and unthread it myself because it was going to do it on its own. This really is an easy project, Mary, honest. It's just my machines decided to be hateful. All right, I need to talk nice to you, honey. Beth said I have to talk nice to you, and then you'll behave yourself. Holding you to it. Oh. There we go. Were you a good girl this time? Let's see. Are you going to look like rat's nest underneath? No, much better. Yeah, this is going to need to have something done to the edges because this canvas is really starting to go crazy. That I'm almost tempted to put another strip of stitch along the edge of the zipper, on the edge of it, to lock that the raw edge of that fabric in. I need to do that now if I'm going to do it, because once we get it together, you can't sew it. The zipper will actually work. It does. It's binding a little because I got a little too close there, but you know what? At this point, it's going together. It won't work because you have to be able to flip it all the way, Mary. And we're going to be going around it. I don't think it can do it. Let me think. This has got to be open on the next step anyway. So if we sewed it wrong sides together, we could do it, Mary. You might be right. Sew around it. Turn it wrong side out. So they'll be right sides together. All right, I'm going to go for it. The important thing is make sure the zipper is open, because if you do not, you will not have a hole to turn it right side out. But Mary, I think you're right. And we'll use some Wonder Clips. You just get your layers together and clip them. I think Mary's right. I think I can do it. I'm such a dork today. It's like my brain's not working. But hey, I've made a tote with a machine being nasty to me. Maybe I can do this too. I think it would be a real hoot for us all to get together somewhere and do some fun project like this and have all the different sewing machines and all that. Oh, I didn't. Thank you, Violet. I didn't do that second top stitch. Whoop, whoop. Got to do that first. I got excited. Mary got me excited. All right, let me do that other top stitch. Holy heck, I'm glad Violet's here. Oh, and for this, I could put the regular foot back on. Oh, y'all, I'm getting hungry. What are we going to have for lunch? What are we going to have for lunch? I've got... What do I have left over? I'm going to go ahead and pull this zipper closed while I'm doing this. In fact, I think I'll do a zigzag along here. Let's do a zigzag. That cotton picking bobbin better behave now, because that's going to be on the outside. And of course now it looks fine, except for this booger at the end. All right, let's do this other side. Beth might be right too. I might need to start talking nicer to her. Yes, I think Mary is correct. All right, put this back at 0 because we don't want to do a zigzag on the next part. Okay, so I did a zigzag and the bobbin thread actually there. So I think I've figured out a variety of problems going. Okay, so French seam, open the zipper first thing so that you can turn it right side out, wrong side, and all that out. Then we're going to put wrong sides together. We'll use Wonder Clips. Line your edges up. Gina Aarons told me about these Wonder Clips. I love them. All right. I don't want to sew through that metal end of the zipper, but I've got room there to come right near it. And on this end, because these are nylon teeth, I'm just going to sew right over the end. And then I'll just cut this end of the zipper off. All right, so we're sewing the sides, wrong sides together first. Oh, that might be a problem there. Might have to come up real short there. I needed more fabric. I cut it too short. We're going to go with it. We're going to make it work. So cut a 1/2 inch bigger on your measurements, or a full inch bigger. That might be a better idea. Oh, I can't seem to get in there with this foot. I'll tell you what, I'll deal with that by hand later. This is taking way longer than I thought it would. So instead of cutting the rectangle 10 by 14, cut it 11 by 15. If you're going to use a 14-inch zipper, and that'll give you room to do the French seams. You might even want to cut it another 1/2 inch bigger. I'd rather have too much than not enough. You can always trim some away later. I'm so glad to feel my stomach growl. Y'all just don't know. Anyway. All right. So there they are. Wrong sides together. I'm going to cut this away here. We can cut. Ooh, don't cut through that with that. I'm going to trim this zipper part away. I've stitched across it so it won't go any farther than there. And I'm going to trim corners off. Here. Don't cut through your. I'm going to trim those, okay? Now I'm going to the other way. I might have to do some hand sewing down here on the end because the zipper is giving me issues there because I didn't leave enough fabric. And you can see here, I'm not going to have enough fabric to do the whole fold. And get all your points out. I have a little tool, but you can use a dull knitting needle. Just don't push so hard. You're just kind of wiggling it out. You're not really pushing. See, I started to pop through there because I was pushing too hard. I'm going to press this flat. And then I'm going to sew again from the edge, another 1/4 inch. I should have probably trimmed some more of that fabric away, but I'm going to do a full 1/4 inch. All right. This is one of those, I think I should have made a sample to get all the bugs worked out before I shared it with y'all. I've made those totes so many times. Maybe we can do the pick 10 on some canvas and then make project bags. And I will practice more project bags. Really, it's not as hard as I'm making it look. And it all goes back to practice makes perfect, and I should have practiced. It just proves I'm human. All right, so I've pressed it. I'm going to stitch along. So I'm covering that seam that's under there. And see, I should have trimmed it some. Let's do it. Let's trim it. I'll pick 10 later. Oh, cinnamon rolls sound good. But you guys, I've got to quit baking and having stuff because I'm on medication for my diabetes, so I can slip and be naughty sometimes, but Scott is not, and his blood sugar was over 300 this morning, you guys. So yeah, I've got to be good. I'm just going to trim about half the width of this 1/4 inch seam away. Don't go through your previous stitches, because the whole idea is we're going to lock this edge in between 2 seams. I'm not going to worry about that zipper. I think I'm just going to leave it alone. I need to turn this so I can see what I'm doing. Oh, it's so hard to see that white thread. I don't want to cut through it. I think these scissors need a good sharpening. All of my tools hate me today. They're all being naughty. They're like when my son was little and he'd get mad at me. He'd say, "I hate you, Mommy. I'm going to run away and live under a bridge." And I'm like, well, you'll get hungry and cold. Wouldn't it be nicer to be a good boy and do what you're supposed to? No, I hate you. I'm going to run away. You're not my mama. I used to hate it when he'd tell me I wasn't his mother out in public. I was like, excuse me? Yeah, I've got to quit the thing. I have to leave it open. I have to leave the zipper is over here. These are the ends of the zippers. So you're saying just leave, yeah, that I was just going to leave the zipper out of my way. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Because and then do the seam up as close as I can get to it and not worry about it, because I should have left more fabric, but lesson learned. I'm still trying to figure this pattern out, and I didn't leave enough room. I think I should have made a full inch for the French seaming, left a full inch. Oh, thank you, Roy. You're so sweet. Okay, I'm going to press this again. And like I said, like Mary just said, I'm just going to skip where the zipper is and just stitch down. It would be better if I could come all the way up, but because I don't have quite enough fabric, I'm going to come down from that and just put my seaming. But I'm going to press it good and then do the 1/4 inch, and then we'll flip it right side out again and see if it looks like something usable or. I love these mushrooms. I don't know what I'll use this bag for, but I love these mushrooms. Okay, let's do a quick seam around. And then I'll chit chat with you guys and answer any questions you might have. All right, we're going to skip that part. There. All right, let's see what we got. All right, because of my presser foot, I couldn't get any closer than that. But it is, I got close. And if you've got a fabric that frays, that's what seams are really good for. All right, so thank you guys for bearing with me as I figure this out. And see, I've got a booger there. I've got to figure out what to do with that. I'm back. Am I back? Please wait while we try to reconnect. Okay. Am I back? Am I back? Am I back? I lost you guys. And see there, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to deal with that. But that's why make sure you have enough closer to what? Huh? Oh, well, my problem is I didn't allow enough for the French seams. I just blind cut this. But there's the project bag. It's just weird at the top here because I need to tuck this in somehow into the inside. I need to undo and turn that in. That's what I'll do. I'll do that with you guys and we'll chat. Yep. It says my connection's unstable, you guys. All right. I'm going to carefully unpick this end. This is the end where I cut the teeth off the zipper. I kind of wish I'd used a garish colored thread so I could see it. You don't understand, Sonny. I can't see the color. So I use colors I can see. That's what I ought to say. All right. So what if I can get this loose and rescue this? All right. So that comes up like that. But then it has to go in. All right. I'm going to turn it wrong side out again. Oh, y'all are going to get sick of me turning this inside out and right side out. I think if I take now and I just sew those together just like that over the teeth like I did before, and I'll have some funky raw edges at the top, but it won't be nearly as ugly as the other way. Hang on just a sec. Yeah, that's what everybody was saying. Do a pick 10 on fabric and then make it into something. Now, if you have Aunt Beck's Creations, we're going to do a craft together tomorrow, 8 a.m. For anybody that wants to join that. It's going to be Creations only, though. And I don't know the maximum number I have in the room. I think I've got 6 people already signed up that they're going to be there. I think that'll fix that end for the most part. Let's see. It still looks a little funny. So I still have some that's kind of weird there. And I'm not sure how I'm going to fix that. That improved that end a good bit. Oh, you're streaming tomorrow. 8 a.m. Eastern, yes. And Janet and I and Ann Lahr, we hung out on there till about noon, and then I jumped over and I joined who was the other ones that were live? Oh my gosh. It was oh my gosh, I can't. Melissa and one of the other UK ladies was on there. Yeah, you can. Everybody can pop in and out if you're in the group. Your quality, yeah, I'm having connection issues. So I might flip this again and do that same thing here. Just turn those ends in and stitch them the best I can. And we're going to call this bag good. And I'm going to let you guys go get some lunch because I'm starving. So I'll fix this off camera because I know I can get it a little bit better. But make your fabric an inch to an inch and a half bigger than your zipper length. So there's my little project bag. And then here's a little tote we made. And I hope you guys had fun. So yeah, well, this little event on Facebook is private. So it's, first come, first serve. And nothing is recorded. It's just for us to get together and craft together. All of the groups that allow rooms can do this. We couldn't find any rooms in Mary's group. We were going to jump into Phibbsville, but we couldn't find a way to make rooms in there. So if that is something Violet and Janet can look into in Mary's and see if there, that would be good. Yes, cut your fabric larger, much larger, like an inch and a half, an inch to 2 larger than the length of your zipper, so you have room to do all the seaming. Lesson learned on this one. This was just my lesson right here. So next one will go better, and the next one after that will be easier. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me with all my sewing machine problems and everything. And I hope you all had fun. And I would love to see any totes that were created today. So if you're in my group, post them in there. If you're in Beth's, post them in there. Or post them in Mary Phibbsville. Thanks, Violet, hon. And I will see some of you tomorrow morning in Aunt Beck's Creations, and we'll just sit and drink coffee, do craft, whatever we decide to do. Love you guys so much. Y'all just don't know what a wonderful support you are for me. And I will talk to you guys later. See you in the morning, Mary.